Hello and welcome to News Express, exclusively brought to you by Business A.M, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. I am Chugunonso Modi. Now, we have interesting stories hitting the front page this week. Let's dive right into it. Now, the big story, Forex inflows through direct remittances suffer setback, with sub-headlines, direct remittances in free fall despite CBN's policies, measures on FX. Another big story, Nigeria top Africa's 10 largest economies with $446.54 billion GDP. Sub-headline, despite debilitating crisis. Another sub-headline, as continent's nations face COVID-19 ravages. Now, you should also check out Executive Knowledge series with sales numbers are up. It may only be inflation. Also, the Commodities and Agriculture corner with Nigerian cocoa producers want LID. Definitely also look out for visionary voices with how women can break the bias, and finance and investment as well, with 10 banks make mouth-watering 275.83 billion naira. Now, let's bring in Philip Isakwa, the publisher, Business A.M, to help us make sense of the headlines. Good morning, Philip.
Yeah, good morning, Onso. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you too?
I'm good.
Okay. So let's go right to the first headline, which says Forex inflows through direct remittances suffer setbacks. Now, according to data seen and analyzed by Business A.M, the CBN's effort to attract inflow of foreign exchange into the country appears to be running against the tides. Now, it shows that direct remittances into the country have been on a downward journey. I mean, this is something we have been talking about over the weeks. What is the problem here? What has hampered, foreign exchange into the country?
Well, so many things are happening right now. They've been happening for quite a long time, and we are seeing the results show up in the numbers. Mm-hmm. So you take a look at this aspect of foreign exchange inflows. We've talked about foreign direct investment haven't shrunken. We talk about what's generally remittances. First of all, it was as a result of the COVID situation in 2020 when the entire world was shut down. Mm-hmm. And then workers were not going to work, so Nigerians in the diaspora weren't able to go to work and earn substantial money to send some back home. So you had the fall, but so you have that, and then you've had all manners of policies that have come up, to try to show up that aspect of foreign earnings. We have problem with the foreign exchange coming in through sale of crude oil, the major foreign exchange earner, and other foreign exchange earning sources. FDI is one. People wanting to set up businesses or who have set up businesses, bringing in new money to shore up the businesses. Mm-hmm. Those have shrunken. So we took a good look at the numbers that have come up from with regards to direct direct remittances, and this will be the ones that come through the banking system or all those money transfer agencies, like MoneyGram and the rest of them. People do get money. It does come into the country through other sources as well. People who travel and then perhaps take $100 or £100, and give to one person or the other, and they bring it. Everything that comes in through that channel, that is within legal acceptance. People bring in money through those means as well. But these ones are the ones that come through the banking system, that are captured, transfers that are made by money remittances companies like MoneyGram and the rest of them. So we took the numbers, and we looked at the numbers, and we found that they are indeed dropping, and we are not seeing different actions that have been taken by the central bank itself, haven't been active. That's the way you generally put it anyway, that those numbers have not been very what's called. You haven't found the positives, coming from that angle. I'll probably read out some data that I have in front of me.
Okay.
January, what you call, I'll read out the numbers to see what we're talking about. 31st January 2021, $185 million. Through this means 28 February 2021, as high as $452 million. So, and then March you had $227 million. Then began to come down to 165, 150 million, and then another high in what you call in June of 2021 at 378 $1 million. But wait for it, it was down in July at $37 million, down in the next month, August, $86 million, went up again, 224 by September. By October, it was down at $51 million. November, it was up 217. But all you keep seeing is that, last December, it was up again, $249 million. And then January this year, it was down $130 million. So you can see the way it's been going. If you took an average of that, you probably wouldn't get something substantial with regards to direct remittances. So the graph we have this almost like a zigzag kind of graph. To represent what has happened. Over the last 12, 13 months or so. But this is the reality of the situation. The key thing is that there is a challenge with regards to foreign exchange earnings. From different sources. That Nigeria used to have. Particularly. You will find that when we talk about forex reserves, being going down, and we match it against what's it called, the ability to maintain imports. Being an import-dependent country, the challenge that we see when foreign reserves begin to go down is that there's a concern with regards to ability to import. Especially raw materials for manufacturers and the other people who import all sorts of things, But the key thing really is that you also tie this down to foreign exchange, the what's it called, the exchange rate, yes, of the naira to the dollar. If this is shrinking, it means that the naira will continue to be on the receiving end with regards to the value that the dollar is able to get it for. And that is the major challenge with this, because the central bank has been particularly concerned with regards to managing exchange rates. With exchange rates different with different types of exchange rates all over the place. Official, unofficial. That you have. So this is really of major concern.
All right. This brings to my notice today. I saw on the news saying that Nigeria's ban on crypto, Twitter also crippled foreign direct investment. Now, do you agree with this claim?
There are two ways to look at it. You will look at the what's it called, policy environment. Because obviously, if you're going to a new country, investors will look at what's going on in that country. With regards to how they are handling the kind of policies that they have and how they are dealing with how they implement those policies.
Okay.
So with Twitter, you will find that there will be a concern. Of course, it will raise the red flag.
Yes.
That if you be careful where you go to, because there is a major concern. That this could happen to you. So people looking to make investments, especially in that space, in that technology space, will be hesitant. So if they had planned to put in money in the economy, especially in the technology space, and then this policy comes out, somewhat. In some places, we say fiat policy in terms of just waking up and deciding what to do without consultation.
Yes.
Then they will hold back. Their money. But that is one aspect of it. The other one is that. Because Twitter does provide some kind of marketing place, so to speak, for people to make contact, with different parts of the world. A lot of communication will have been held back as a result, because if people were communicating via Twitter, with regards to maybe some investment matters, it meant that there was a hold. I think that lasted for some 7 or 8 months or so, and you will have had a problem with that, and that is it's also a marketplace as well, just like some other aspect of the social media space, where people are marketing all sorts of things, people are doing buying and selling, on other platforms, even though Twitter tends to be more of communicating with people globally, but it's also an avenue where people showcase certain things. I've seen many people talk about buy my stuff or buy this or buy that,
Yes.
when they follow people. So that's also might have been a problem with regards to people wanting to invest in the economy. So communication challenges would have been an issue. Those would be the two key areas. Investors being concerned, and then you have. It's been a major problem. It's not a new problem. It's a problem that's gone on for quite some time with regards to what's called honoring or what they call it sanctity of a contract. That's a major problem with the economy or the management of the economy in terms of investors being wary and concerned that every time a government comes in or one individual comes in, there tends to be you start all over again, start from the scratch, something that has gone 50%, 75%, or even 90%. That's been a major problem from time.
Yes. Now it's so sad that Nigeria has found it difficult to remove itself from decades of addictive dependency on foreign goods, and I'm pretty sure that this inability to meet the high demand foreign exchange, like you said, has affected the economy. Now, how much has it hit the economy? What is the implication of this? Because foreign inflows are definitely very important for the country to grow. So what's the effect?
It's been massive. It's been massive. The economy has been in a state, for quite some time. If you have to remove all the externalities that we've heard about that has come about from 2000. Say you talk about the 2007 2008 financial crisis. You talk about the pandemic. That shut down the entire world. And you talk about some points where you had energy crisis, or what's called crude oil glut in the international market, and you weren't earning much. You talk about militancy in the Niger Delta that makes production difficult. The new one is oil theft. It's no longer so much the militancy. Of course, militancy that has metamorphosed into what's called stealing the crude directly. So then you have all of that. but you then also have the policy environment, that allows people to take a decision or make a decision with regards to investment. What we're hearing now is our people, our organizations are living. There's a major challenge in the oil and gas industry, for instance, sector for now, because they are leaving, they are going to other places, ExxonMobil, Shell, Chevron, the major IOCs are leaving, the economy because of the environment. When an environment or when the environment isn't conducive for them to work effectively, it does have, it helps them to make a decision quickly, because you take the PIB, for instance. PIB, something that people should have sat over, if it's very technical, you say they spend 1 full year, or 1.5, 2 years, to deal with, but it took more than a decade, if not two, discussing one policy for a particular sector and a sector that is very, very important to the economy. It took so long, by that time, minds were already being made up, by the they had shifted their focus, especially the international oil companies, to other environments, other places, and then we are now seeing the decision against fossil fuel being a major challenge, so it's no longer as lucrative as it used to be, because there are so many forces against the sector, the crude oil business, and if you have those externalities, that are affecting what you do, then you must have an environment that is under your control, fully, put in such a shape that it becomes an attraction, instead of being repulsive, to investment, so that is a major problem. Again, we talk about this, an election, pre-election year, so many things, people will always sit back and watch what's going to happen next, and then if it comes to investment decision, those decisions will be held back, will be put on hold, to see what next is going to happen, who is going to come in, and and what kind of person that president is going to be, so right now I'm telling you, what they call them, risk analysts, political economic risk analysts are preparing bundles and bundles of paper, regarding the different actors or people looking to contest to be president, and they will be preparing this for investors, across the globe, and then the investors will be looking at making all sorts of permutation, if this one comes in, what will happen? If this one comes in, what are we likely to see, and on that basis, be taking some decision in the preliminary stages, and then wait for what will happen next year and see who comes in, and then but before that time they will have had all their facts, in place, so it's one major serious problem is the fact that because these earnings are not coming, this forex isn't coming, because we are highly dependent on import, it's affecting the rate of the exchange rate, and the naira keeps tanking against the dollar. Even when we saw some weakening, of the dollar, you don't have it registered here because there isn't a strong basis for that kind of relationship to be to happen, between the naira and the dollar. So exchange rate is a major concern. The central bank is concerned about it, and we just keep watching and hoping that what some policy will be put in place that will address this issue square on.
Honestly, it's sad that we are going through this phase. We are either trying to, conserve the limited foreign exchange, or, to seek to attract Forex into the country, and it's becoming a big problem. But then, hopefully, let's see what happens. We can only hope in Nigeria here. Most times when you say this will happen, it ends up surprising you. Okay, let's go to the second story, which says Nigeria top Africa's 10 largest economies with $446.54 billion GDP. Now, it has been said that Nigeria with $446.54 billion gross domestic product sits on top of Africa's 10 biggest economies in 2021. Now, this is a surprising analysis, despite, the debilitating crisis that we're seeing.
Well, Nigeria is a very huge economy.
Yes.
You talk about population. Population is heavy. It's massive population that you have in if well managed, it will still be. These numbers, will be very small, compared to what.
If well managed.
Yes, because at 4.4. Now we just have to go back to 2014 or was it 2013, 2014? When there was a rebasing of the economy, that produced that saw Nigeria's GDP at over $500 billion, and what we are seeing now is that it is still holding strong despite all the crisis. If we were to look at the numbers, 446 at 20 last year, because this survey is based on a full calculation for 2021, at 446, and then go back to what's called 2013-14, where when we had the economy, the rebasing of the economy, and seeing that the economy was worth over $500 billion. You will recall that it was that same rebasing, during that same rebasing, that opened the eyes of the world to so many things about the economy, that because there wasn't any sign of the size of the economy, was like say 10 years or 20 years before that time, and when the numbers came out, everybody was amazed, and it began to draw some positive attention to the economy, so Nigeria, before that time, you had the economies of South Africa, Egypt, always has been spoken about globally, with regards to investors looking at opportunities on the continent, but once that came out, some focus, real focus, of course they used to look at Nigeria with regards to the size of the population,
yes,
as an economy with, that is a country with a large population for markets, but once they saw the numbers, they said that this is really much more than the population. That there are other things about the country. So you can look at the value 446.5 billion, 54 billion, in 2021, compared to 500 plus. You've lost some amount, not so much, given all the everything that has happened so far. So it's not really much. But the thing is that it's the stories about resilience, that the African economies are still strong, especially the 10 largest economies, if the story does look at the 10 economies, with some detail, with regards to how their numbers came about, and and then the strength of the different, the 10 economies with regards to what was put together, to arrive at the different their GDPs, But the key thing is that it's a continent that has been ravaged by COVID, continues to suffer because while in other parts of the world there has been some progress made with the what's it called distribution of vaccines and so on, but it's a continent that hasn't had the opportunities to be able to spread vaccine, to be able to come out of the challenges that COVID brought upon it in terms of almost nearly decimating many of the economies, that have had to start from scratch in some cases, but for them to still be holding on, it's a positive thing, for the continent, positive for the 10 biggest economies, and then it gives some hope, that the resilience, if that they have, they can build some resilience. But if they add the ability to be resilient to proper management, effective management, then you could have something huge in your hands here.
I mean, I read through the story and I was really glad with this 10 African continents that they picked, especially with South Africa being number one. I mean, they don't just rely on a single source of income. They have tourism, they have gold, they have diamond, and it's something that Nigeria can do as well. But it just seems like we're struggling so much, despite having so much. We already have a significant demographics. We a good choice for a good number of foreign investments, but still we're not getting that thing right. But then let's see how it goes, Mr. Philip.
That is true. I mean, the good thing about this story is that it does expose all the economies that are mentioned here, to what they do, and the potentials that still exist in them, but I mean, you can go to Egypt, and if you see the way Egypt is, the content regarding their GDP, Nigeria, even Angola, so Nigeria, there's still quite a lot, a lot that can be done. It's to be mono dependent, our economy. It's not helping. There's still a lot to be done. To expose the economy, expose all the different aspects of it. To the world, and then to investments. And there's still we haven't even the country hasn't scratched it, so to speak.
Hasn't scratched the surface at all. All right, thank you, Mr. Philip. We'll definitely see how the stories develop this week.
Yeah, thank you, Nonso. Have a great week.
You too. That was Philip Isakba, the publisher, Business A.M, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. Don't forget, you can listen in again by going to www.Africa Business Radio and clicking on the News Express podcast. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more.